Today, we're going to talk about AI hallucinations, their causes, implications, and also strategies for identifying and mitigating them in various industries. So, again, when AI lies, or as I like to call it, liar, liar, pants on fire. So, my name is Tamara Bredemus. And I currently work for Planet Technologies as the principal learning strategist and adoption specialist. My contact information is there. And yes, I did risk putting up my phone number. You can give me a call. If I'm not teaching people how to do stuff, I'll actually answer the phone. Or you can email me at a very simple email address at tamara@go-planet.com. So what are we going to do today? What are we going to talk about? Our focus today is on what's referred to as hallucinations. These are instances where AI models generate responses like text or images or data that are factually incorrect or misleading or just entirely made up. So despite appearing plausible. So we're going to begin by introducing AI hallucinations, how they occur and how common they are. And then we're going to explore their security I can never get that word, implications. Woohoo, I win. And the risks and potential consequences of misguided AI use. And then we're going to discuss recognition and fact checking, prevention techniques, and conclude with a recap and a discussion. I would love to hear some of the hallucinations that you have discovered. So our goal today is to learn how to recognize, avoid, and correct these outputs in everyday AI use. So as AI services integrate into our workplaces, understanding security risks and adopting best practices ensures safe deployment and usage among users. Also understand that hallucinations are no longer treated as a bug, but as systematic. Hallucinations just happen. Sorry, I was just reading the comments and it's awful cute in there. So AI systems are subject to many of the same security and safety challenges that we encounter as we work with all different technologies. AI can introduce vulnerabilities through erroneous outputs, data exposure, and manipulation risks. Awareness of these security considerations is vital for safe workplace integration. And we're not going to delve into the many varied details of AI security, but our topic today highlights and explores one of these matters that we will all encounter throughout our AI experience at some point. So our objective as we express concerns regarding AI safety and security aren't to dissuade use. Well, I'm not trying to get you to stop using AI. That would be crazy. So like so many powerful technologies we employ in our roles in organizations, we should approach AI with a respectful awareness. Our understanding of the challenges inherent with AI systems will prepare us to use it successfully despite what can sometimes be unintended results. And AI is like an overeager intern. It takes almost the same amount of time to explain to the intern or AI what you need and when you need it and what it should look like and what it should not look like. And you wouldn't hand off an intern's work without checking it, would you? No, especially depending on the intern. The same is true of all AI. You got to check it. Our focus today is the introduction and exploration of AI hallucinations. So, AI hallucinations occur when artificial intelligence generates incorrect or fabricated information unintentionally. Hallucinations are not errors as we might understand them in the context of human reasoning, but they are the byproduct of how generative AI works, predicting text without intrinsic truth checking. The combination of data gaps, lack of grounding, and architectural constraints make hallucinations inevitable unless mitigated by external validation or very careful prompting. So, what might a hallucination look like? And what could be expected when encountering an AI hallucination? I'll give you an example. Last year, I was putting together a workshop for SharePoint from zero to hero, is what I called it. And I had my outline, I had everything done, but I wanted to make sure that I wasn't missing anything. So I went to ChatGPT. This is before I had Copilot. Went to ChatGPT and I said, I'm creating a workshop. It's this long. These are the people who will be attending. Please provide an outline of what should be included in this workshop. And it included InfoPath and SharePoint Designer. Now, I didn't have to do much research to figure out that it was hallucinating because InfoPath is being deprecated and SharePoint Designer went the way of the crazy X a long time ago. So that's just one real life example. But others are like fabricated sources. So this illustrates how AI can fabricate authoritative references, which can mislead users who don't verify the citations. Invented facts. Even when discussing well-documented historical facts, AI can generate incorrect details that sound plausible. Then we have imaginary historical events. This is my favorite. This shows how AI can confidently present fabricated historical narratives, which can spread misinformation if unchecked. Like the Eiffel Tower was originally built in New York. No, I think it's getting confused with the Statue of Liberty, which was first constructed in Paris. So, hallucinations can occur because of predictive nature of the AI models. So large language models, or LLMs, like ChatGPT, Copilot, Claude, Gemini, are predictive text generators. They don't know facts. They predict the next word based on patterns in their training data. So while these models are very impressive in their own rights and capabilities, they have no built-in mechanism to verify truth. Now, how can this be problematic? When faced with gaps in knowledge or ambiguous prompts, the model likes to fill in the most statistically likely, but not necessarily accurate, sequence. This is the root of hallucinations. It's like when someone's counting cards at the blackjack table in Vegas. They probably know the next card to come up, but it's based on probability, not truth. So as AI technologies are anything but perfect, the core characteristics of language models can subject themselves to limitations and miscalculations. Incomplete or outdated data. If the model hasn't seen certain facts or its data is stale, it may fabricate plausible sounding answers. Errors or bias in the training set impact the outputs. Lack of real world grounding. AI models operate without real-time access to authoritative sources unless explicitly connected to an external tool. Without grounding, the model cannot cross-check its predictions. So it may literally invent citations, statistics, or even events. And then we have the architectural and reasoning limitations. So this is the context window. Models can only consider a finite amount of text at once, which can lead to a loss of critical context. Large language models mimic reasoning patterns, but don't truly reason. They approximate logic through pattern matching. This can result in analogies or explanations that sound logical, but are factually wrong. The concept of analogies relates to AI hallucinations, especially in the context of ambiguous prompts. When an AI model receives an ambiguous request, it lacks enough context to produce a precise answer. So, to fill in that gap, the model often relies on pattern-based reasoning, which can include drawing analogies from its training data. So, like an example of an ambiguous prompt might be draft a policy that complies with all regulations. Well, holy cow, all regulations? Really? It's impossible to satisfy without jurisdiction, industry, or scope model, and may result in made up regulatory requirements. So a safer prompt would be draft a bring your own device security policy for a US-based healthcare provider. Align with HIPAA and NIST SP 800-53 controls, and note where legal review is needed. So we need to be specific. We need to give it context of what we're looking for, and this will help reduce the hallucinations. Also, analogies help humans understand more complex ideas by linking them to more familiar concepts. AI uses them for the same reason, making abstract or technical topics more relatable. Ambiguous prompts leave the model with multiple possible interruptions or interpretations. And to resolve this uncertainty, the model predicts text that seems coherent, often by borrowing structures from analogy-rich patterns in its training data. Now, this process can lead to invented facts or false equivalencies because the analogy is not grounded in verified truth. So, keeping pace with the explosion in AI popularity and the expansion as researchers wanting to quantify and qualify hallucination rates, let's take a look at what the researchers say. In a lab test where AI was asked to summarize a document it could reference, the best model still made up facts about 1 to 3 times out of every 100 sentences. So, what does hallucination rate mean here? A hallucination is when AI gives an answer that sounds correct, but is actually wrong or unsupported by the source material. The hallucination rate is the percentage of times this happens within a given test. So, what is controlled summarization in this context? Researchers give AI a specific document, like an article or a report, and ask it to summarize the document. Because the source text is known, it's easy to check whether the summary sticks to the facts or invents details. And what is the Vectera HHEM 2.1? It's the evaluation benchmark used to measure how often AI Summaries include hallucinations. The HHEM stands for Hallucination Evaluation Model. It's a classifier that checks if each sentence in the summary is supported by the original text. So, what does approximately 0.7% to 2.5% for top models means? When top performing models like GPT-4, Claude, Gemini, etc., were tested on this benchmark, the best models only hallucinated about 0.7% of sentences. That's less than 1 in 100, where others in the top tier were around 2.5% or 2 or 3 sentences in 100 sentences. So, in a controlled setting with clear instructions and a known source, these models are very accurate most of the times, but they're still not perfect. Hallucinations are just part of the AI game. So, beyond the standards and the concept of our previous examples, the further the tests take us beyond the scope of highly controlled AI model exercises, the more frequent and erroneous the occurrence of hallucinations. And when AI is unable to fill in the blanks as it provides its response, it can not only invent or fabricate details, but attempt plausibly by citing other details that do occur in the training data, despite their contextual irrelevance. Now, hallucination occurrence factors include task type, evaluation method, and prompt design and guardrails. So different tasks carry different risks. Citation generation, prone to fabricating sources. Open Q&A may produce confident but incorrect answers. And summarization can misrepresent or omit key details. So here's a tip for you. Your prompt matters. Be specific in your prompt about the task goal. Clear direction reduces ambiguity and hallucination risk. Now, in the evaluation method, hallucinations are judged differently depending on the evaluation method. Automated classifiers, or HHEM, large language models as judge approaches, and human raters. Then we've got the prompt design and guardrails. Influencing factors include abstention policies, where the model should just come right out and say, I don't know. Citation requirements, explicit instructions in the prompt. Here's a tip. Include clear expectations. Cite sources, only answer if confident. Rate your degree of confidence to guide model behavior. And then we also have grounding and retrieval. Hallucinations increase when relevant data is unavailable and retrieved content is a low quality or outdated. So what you want to do is you want to provide the source data or ground your prompt with up-to-date source material. And then you want to match the method to the task. For factual accuracy, use citation-based prompts and retrieval-enabled models. For creative or exploratory tasks, allow more flexibility, but monitor for plausibility. All these details and statistics aside, what does it mean for us? First, no one developer or vendor has created an AI model that produces any outputs distinctly free from hallucinations. Now, while unintentional, hallucinations are an unavoidable byproduct of large language models. There is no model in which the potential for hallucination does not occur. Even under highly managed and idealized testing frameworks, models still display hallucinations. And the probability of hallucination climbs after we consider AI uses in real world where safeguards can be user driven. So, while AI systems have much to offer, this growing class of technologies brings with it a degree of risks. As AI proliferates throughout our professional and private lives, the potential for negative impacts as AI encounters or summons misguided or errant information in the form of hallucinations are things we just have to consider. When AI states something is that's incorrect with a high confidence, humans tend to accept it and continue it on. They repeat it. That's called the automation bias. In routine operations like status emails, client briefs, help desk replies, this produces bad decisions. Sending a wrong advertisement, picking the wrong vendor, or misclarifying or classifying risks. Hallucinated facts, quotes, and attributions in blogs, proposals, or press responses erode credibility. If a hallucination references a customer or a regulator, it may escalate to compliant or legal correspondence. If AI drafted material includes unsupported or unverifiable statements in domains like finance or healthcare, safety, or even export controls, the organization risks violating policy or future regulatory expectations for traceability, evidence, and human oversight. Remember the old Russian proverb trust, but verify. Now, while no organization is seeking to make use of hallucinated AI content, several industries are distinctly vulnerable to the issues raised by potentially errant, inaccurate, or false information. The stakes are much higher, and the consequences they face place them in financial, legal, and public scrutiny. There are dozens of documented legal proceedings in the United States alone, in which lawyers have relied upon the analysis of AI systems only to discover they've inadvertently provided the courts false information. And as medical industries are seeking new and more powerful ways to manage the overwhelming volumes of public and individual patient health information, AI systems have discovered or have been discovered to fabricate patient, medical, treatment, and pharmacological data. In 2025, health insurance companies are using or were using AI at scale across operations, customer service experience, and care management, but with a much higher regulatory scrutiny than even a few years ago. Now, here is clear evidence-based overview of where AI is actually being used and why and what's changing. So the claims processing and utilization management or prior authorization is insurers are using machine learning and NLP to extract clinical data from medical records, check requests against coverage criteria, triage cases to human reviewers, and automate approvals for low-risk routine cases. Now, AI is most heavily deployed in prior authorization, concurrent review, and claims adjudication. Why is that? Well, administrative costs alone, faster turnaround times, pressure to meet CMS response times and rules, 72 hours for urgent and 7 days for standard. 84% of the US health insurers report using AI or large language models in some capability, utilizing management, the most common use cases. And vendors like Optum now offer AI tools that organize clinical information and accelerate reviews while publicly committing not to fully accurate denials. So it's just, you've got to take it with a grain of salt. It can speed things up, but should we let AI be making decisions for us without that human interaction? My vote says no. If they're making the final decision, no, that should be people. We've thoroughly highlighted the issues and challenges summoned in the form of hallucinated AI outputs. But as educated AI users, there are several tactics we can employ to continue to use AI in a safe and efficient manner. Addressing technological limitations of large language models is challenging, as these learning systems and the data sets to which they have access are exceedingly complex. As hallucinations occur, they're not always obvious or glaring. And while researchers are working on controls and features to act as hallucination countermeasures, there are technical limitations like any other digital learning system. What sort of output details could indicate that AI is providing us a hallucinated content? Well, specific claims with no sources, non-existent or untraceable references, vague or circular sourcing, overconfident absolute tone on complex topics, or an analogy instead of evidence. Made up entities or attributes, details provided in response that fail to match up, and citation styles that look right, but they don't resolve. Despite requests for validation, the model continues to reiterate its unfounded claims. Users can equip themselves to identify outputs or content they feel may be hallucinated. When working with AI, press the model for citations to understand the sources of the information included in the outputs. Seek other authoritative sources for information that seems questionable or vague. Be mindful of AI consistency in its response. AI models can unintentionally attempt to persuade or convince users of their veracity. One quick logic test to validate AI contents is this 3-question test. If we're unable to confidently answer yes to these 3 basic checks, then we should note AI's response as unverified. Treat AI like an intern. They're fast sometimes and helpful, but everything needs a second set of eyes before it goes out the door. So can I verify this claim independently? Yes. Does the source exist and match the statement? No. Would I be comfortable citing this in a compliance audit? Well, if I can't find a source, I'm not going to be telling it to somebody who's doing a compliance audit. All technologies are not just pushing the boundaries of AI models, but mechanisms to, like the retrieval augmented generation or RAG, to mitigate or prevent hallucinations. Jack has a question. How can I help, Jack? Oh, I can't hear you.
We can hear you, Jack.
Do you want to type it in the chat?
I accidentally connected
There
with a
you
different
are.
mic, but I'm back.
Okay.
I'm ready.
Good. We're
I was
glad
just
you're
saying
back. What's
how
up?
you're debunking AI. Recently, I myself was doing a Zoom meeting, and we had these Zoom trollers, and what they did was they used AI to nakedify me, and they made me completely naked.
Oh my gosh.
Completely naked.
That's crazy. Yeah, so AI can go amok. It can be used for good, it can be used for evil, just like any technology can. So, as users, we need to be the responsible users and not make anyone else, aside from Jack, naked in Zoom meetings. All right, so this retrieval augmented generation, or RAG, is an AI architecture pattern that combines both retrieval, pulling relevant authoritative documents or data from an external knowledge base, like SharePoint, databases, web sources, and the generation using the large language model to synthesize a response based on both the user's prompt and the retrieved documents. So think of RAG as giving AI open book access instead of asking it to answer the question from memory. So the key benefits of using that is it reduces hallucinations by grounding answers in real data. It improves trust because users can see the source. And it keeps answers current without retraining the model. So finally, prevention and correction strategies. A large part of our AI content validation experiences will happen after output is provided. However, when possible, prevention is our smartest approach to employing AI faculties with confidence. At the risk of overstating it, no AI models are perfect, and each will, within a variance, summon hallucinations in the form of responses. Now, best practices are the smartest way to avoid these issues. Details. When prompting, be as detailed and direct as possible. Include context instead of saying summarize this, say summarize this policy, focusing on reimbursement limits and approval steps. And then also provide the specific format you want. Provide a bulleted list with citations from the source document, and avoid vague terms like everything or all the details. So include the request for the source or the authoritative details in the prompt, and include links to the original documents or list of source for each claim. Limit to the peer-reviewed or official sources. And for enterprise use, require internal document references like SharePoint, policy docs, rather than just going to the generic web. Don't expect the AI model to satisfy several distinct requests in a single prompt. Split that into smaller steps. So first, list the policy sections. Then summarize section 3 with examples. And then validate each step before you move on. Understand the nature of large language models, faculties as predictive, not knowledgeable. Don't ask for predictions or hidden facts. What will the next regulation say? You're not going to get it. If you must, frame it as an opinion-based. What are common industry expectations? And label it as speculative. Yeah, Emma, go ahead, unmute and ask a question. Or you can type it in the chat. All right, well, Emma. Oh no, mic problems when you had that very specific question. Duh.
Oh, so can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Well, I'd just like to say that something very similar happened to me, what Jack said.
Oh, really? Holy cow. Yeah.
Yeah,
What
it
you
was
can
it was
do-
Wait.
horrible.
Did they
Yeah.
also nakify you?
They did.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
horrible. It was really nasty.
Can you send me the image so we can like find out what AI prompt it was?
I don't think that's a good idea. Yeah.
For
Let's
research
continue with
purposes
this.
only, though.
Yeah. So understand the nature of the large language model. If you must frame it as an opinion, you're going to want to label that as an opinion and instruct the AI directly to not assume or become creative in its response. Add, if you're unsure, say, I don't know, rather than guessing, or only use information provided in the document. So best prompting practices means best AI results. Don't discount the importance of clear, detailed, insightful prompts to minimize the likelihood of hallucinated AI content. Here are 5 examples of prompts to reduce hallucinations. These are provided by Perplexity, which is a free AI-powered answer engine that, according to them, provides accurate, trusted, and real-time answers to any questions. So, citation verification sequence. For this analysis, you're going to let them know the topic and say, for this topic, show me the primary source identification or the original document, publication chain, who cited whom. Emma, don't be sending anything.
Sorry, I'm just a little confused right now. Like,
yeah, don't send
don't worry
anything.
about it, Emma.
You're fine.
Yeah, please don't.
oh, okay, thank you.
You bet.
Yep.
So, and then also ask for the author's credentials. Is it somebody in kindergarten writing something? So they may not have the qualifications. And what's its peer review status? Have other people been able to recreate this information? If a claim can't be traced to a variable source, you're going to want to flag it. Then we have the contradiction detector. You're going to search for conflicting information.
Hey, someone accidentally removed me, but it's okay, I'm back.
Okay. So the contradiction detector is going to let you know alternative interpretations, methodological disputes, updated information. Has this been revised recently? Retracted claims or contextual limitations. When does this not apply? And present both sides with equal rigor. And then the statistical integrity. And that's where we want to take a look at the sample size, the methodology, the confidence intervals, the correlation versus causation, and reproducibility. Has anyone replicated this before? Math doesn't lie, but interpretations do. And then we have the expertise validation. Access the credibility or assess the credibility of your source. Professional credentials, publication history, institutional affiliation, conflicts of interest. If the person is working for an oil refinery and is talking about how oil is going to do away with wind power, solar power, or geothermal power, you may want to consider the source. And also recognition, are there any citations, awards, or what position do they hold? Because authority matters, but so does bias. And this temporal accuracy filter. What is the latest data release? Superseding information. Has this information been replaced? Active research, expert consensus, and implementation status. Is this theory or is it practice? Yesterday's truth is not always today's truth. So, some common questions that we ask ourselves: how do hallucinations affect trust in AI tools at work? Who is responsible if AI hallucination causes a mistake? The user or the tool? Well, ultimately, it's going to be your responsibility. They're not going to go back to AI and shake their fist. They're coming to you. Do AI tools improve over time and reduce hallucinations automatically? So, in conclusion, all AI hallucinations present significant challenges, but with awareness and proper security measures and best practices, their risks can be managed. Continuous improvement and education are the key to harnessing AI safely and effectively. Does anybody have any questions?
Yeah, I have a question, Tamara.
Sure.
First off, fantastic session. I wanted to know if you've dug into probability of all the different LLMs that are out there.
So for each large language model, what is the probability that they're going to generate hallucinations?
Yeah, because I know there's a combination, right, of one, being able to have a very sophisticated prompt. I mean, that's the ultimate goal, right? Is you want to make sure that, like an intern, you're describing exactly what you want instead of like go and do this one thing, really blah
Right.
and really generic. You're very, very specific. So it's almost like
Right.
a combination of probability if it's general and probability if it's specific.
Yeah, the more specific you can be, the lower your chances of getting a hallucination. I don't have specific data on that.
Okay. Yeah, I was curious about
For
that because I know
each
probability is
large
certainly a
language
part
model.
of OpenAI, and then of course every model updates with better statistics, and so just curious if you've done research. So, but great topic today.
Thank you. Thank you. I hope it was helpful. If anybody has any questions, I have at the end of this presentation, I've included those 5 prompts that you can add to your prompt to get the citations. So I'll make this deck available on my blog post. Emma, you have a question, ma'am.
Hi, sorry. My brother Daniel Jones is in the waiting room, I think, and he's asking to be let in. Is that okay?
He's in now.